Good morning. This is Rich Solte with PROLIM. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning for our Teamcenter in the Cloud webinar. I want to introduce myself first. Again, my name is Rich Solte, and I am the Director of Sales with PROLIM. From the PROLIM, we have several other folks as well. Anant, who is our Teamcenter Implementation Architect. He has over 10 years of Teamcenter experience. We also have Neelkant, who is our Marketing Specialist. He has over 5 years of relevant experience. And then we have Prabhu Patil, presenting today, and he has over 20 years of Teamcenter related experience. And then from Siemens, we also have Troy, who is part of their technical enablement team, and Troy has over 10 years of relevant experience. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Everybody will be muted during the webinar, and if you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to hit the chat feature, and we will log those questions and answer them at the end of the webinar. And we'll open up things then for open.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining this webinar. Here is the agenda. Introduction we just went through. On the cloud, we'll be talking about cloud infrastructure, business case, Teamcenter on the cloud. We also have a quick demo of an AVI, and then we open the floor for a Q&A.
So I wanted to just give a quick history of PROLIM and a little background. We are actually a global services provider. We have 3 offices in the U.S., 2 in India, and 1 in Europe. We've been in business since 2005, and we've been ranked as fastest growing companies by Inc. 500. Also a Future 50 company within Michigan and Future 50 within the greater Detroit area. Are a certified Siemens PLM software provider, as well as a certified Amazon consulting partner.
Start with the Teamcenter. Most of you already are familiar with Teamcenter. Teamcenter is the rich, best-in-class PLM software in the world. It is providing a high return on investment to global customers in the world. Teamcenter, as you know, it manages from design, document management, bill of materials, process, requirements, digital manufacturing, visualization, supplier collaboration, quality, you name it, anything that is related with PLM, Teamcenter has that capability. Have been deployed Teamcenter in 13 countries in last 20 plus years. Today to talk about the evolution of Teamcenter and Teamcenter on the cloud. Teamcenter, as you know, it is a future-proof architecture model to support changing business dynamics. As you know, Teamcenter is a flexible, secure, and proven technology. And it provides different options to deploy and different architecture. As you already know, it offers 2-tier architecture as well as 4-tier rich architecture as well. And the left-hand side, as you can see here, is a divisional. What we call is you can to many locations and connect it through a multi-site environment. You can get what files and what documents you want to share with. On the right-hand side, you have a hub and a spoke model. You have a site 1, you have a site 2, smaller site 2 and 3 and 4. You can share that data, what you need, with the other sites on a need basis. The most preferred one is a central, where you have a central architecture. You can share the data with the central Teamcenter with FSC cache servers close to you wherever you are located. What SIM data is talking about Teamcenter? If you look at last 10 years, Teamcenter is clearly a leader in PLM space. And in terms of the market direction, IDC, when they conducted survey in 2013, and what customers are all talking about is focusing on information and not on the technology. And the number 3 on everybody's mind, CIOs and CFOs, it's to move to zero capital and transform the IT financial model. This is on cloud is going to fit in. And number 3 on everybody's mind, on the top executive's mind, is 70% of CIOs will embrace cloud-first strategy in 2016. You may wonder what is today. In 2013, the cloud-first strategy is 23%, but is going to be 70% by 2016, and hence Teamcenter on the cloud has become a prominent, important topic for today. Companies using cloud. According to NIST, National Institute Standards and Technology, there are 4 cloud deployment models: public cloud, community cloud, private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. It depends on what the customer wants to do. It all has its own advantages and disadvantages. It's all about price advantage, accessibility, elasticity, security, specialization, SLA, and control. And what the market direction? If you look at Aberdeen Group, and 20% of the companies or the customers already using cloud in more than 5 years. Around 40% are using between 2 to 5 years, and so on. So using the public cloud is no longer a cutting-edge technology. Hence, every company is evolving and innovating different way of getting into cloud strategy. Cloud computing service models. And one is the traditional IT. This is everybody is familiar with. The entire thing from hardware, operating system, middleware, applications, and data, entire thing is managed within the company. The second service model is infrastructure as a service. The entire hardware stack, networking, storage, servers, and virtualization are managed by your vendor, whereas the rest of it, operating system and above, is managed by the company, your company itself. That is the infrastructure as a service. Platform as a service, from hardware to the operating system and the middleware, is managed by the vendor, whereas the application and data is managed by the company itself. The last one is the service, software as a service. It is everything is managed by the vendor itself. Salesforce.com is an example here. You may wonder where Teamcenter on the cloud falls into which service model. Teamcenter on cloud falls into infrastructure as a service. We'll talk more about this in the next few slides. One of the key topics on everybody's mind a few years back was network infrastructure and the security. As you can see in the last couple of years, these two areas are addressed very well by the cloud providers. There are the networking security wise, there are 3 models. One is the AWS Direct Connect. This is a dedicated connection between your data center at the bottom here to the AWS in the top, a direct connection. The second model is a private cloud, VPC. You have the data center here within your network, and you have your own VPC in the cloud that you are connecting to. And the last one is the dedicated instance. This is a Amazon EC2 running on a private hardware as a single tenant. What are the cloud deployment considerations? There are total 5. If you look at the first one is the location. On-premise versus off-premise. Infrastructure, heterogeneous infrastructure like different hardware stack on operating system stacks, or a middleware, middle tier, and the homogeneous stack. The business model. If you go for a on-premise, you have to invest and lock your capital by spending CapEx. If you are going for a cloud, are pretty much going on operating expense, which is very good for startups, R&D, and matured models you want to jumpstart. Ownership. Own your own hardware or lease or rent. The management standpoint, self-managed or third-party or the cloud infrastructure provider managing your infrastructure. Going global. The beauty of this cloud infrastructure, you can manage your entire infrastructure on different devices, including the mobile device. You can manage and monitor your environment from anywhere. Here is an example. If you have a Teamcenter on the cloud, you can manage your entire infrastructure on Amazon AWS cloud using your iPhone. If you look at here on the left-hand side, you will see that you can manage all the AWS dashboard with your server's EC2 instances. How many are there, any alarm, and you can watch for the service health of it. And also, if you are looking for a CFO or a finance department, look at the spending on that infrastructure. You can also reboot your server. You can stop, add servers, everything from the mobile device, iPhone or app, Android device, or iPad or tablet. So now the question is, what is the business case for Teamcenter on the cloud? You already know, if you already worked in global organizations, you already know takes time consuming to procure a hardware, go through the whole business case of procuring the hardware, infrastructure, network, operating system to middle tier. It takes a long time. So hence, Teamcenter on the cloud will be an answer for that. Let's look at some strategies here. IDC done a lot of research and came up with why cloud infrastructure will help. It is 4x more reliable, and it is 1/4 the cost of on-premise infrastructure. Siemens also done a lot of research on this, and here's the problem statement. The customers are being driven to reduce their IT cost. Every CIO's mind, if you ask any CIO, what's their number one topic? How do I reduce my IT spending by 10% or 15% year after year? So the Siemens answer is, for this specific topic, Amazon AWS. The business benefits are that zero capital, and as we talked about, that there is up to 4x reliability, 1/4 the cost of on-premise infrastructure. Let's look at one real-life example here. Here is an example of a standard automotive tier 1 supplier. This automotive supplier has 20 servers that include web server, business logic server, and FSC cache servers. They have 5 database servers and 10 terabytes of data, that's storage, and 1,000 users. And if you look at the numbers on the left-hand side here, you're focusing on servers, storage, network, environment, administration. And if you add all these real numbers, data, and the cost comes around $521,000 per year. And we compare against real numbers against Amazon AWS, the cost comes out to be $76,500. That leads to a whopping savings of over $444,000 per year. And if you project it for the 3 years, it is over $1.3 million. Granted, some of these numbers will change from customer to customer, but in essence, the key idea here is that if you compare your on-premise infrastructure stack against on the Amazon cloud, there is a huge savings. What Siemens is doing? Siemens is taking the following steps. One, Siemens gone through this, made huge investments in time and money, and put Teamcenter on the cloud by offering infrastructure savings back to the customers. Now, what about the licensing? Licensing is another huge cost. Siemens has provided a different option, a subscription to pay on a monthly basis or an annual basis. You may wonder what, if you are a small or mid-sized customer, you may wonder, what does that mean to me? Here is an example of a small customer. They have 2 servers, WebLogic, Web, BLS, and FSC cache servers, 1 database server, 5 bytes of data, and 20 to 30 users. If I compare again apple to apple here against on-premise versus AWS, you would see the whopping $87,000 savings per year. If a project over 3 years, it's $261,000 savings. Hence, it's very clear, crisp clear, cloud, Teamcenter on the cloud brings cost savings to the customer. Now, what is Teamcenter on the cloud? What does it mean? How does it work? Let's look at some of the slides here. Teamcenter on the cloud. So Siemens came up with a vision of Teamcenter on the cloud. The vision is speed PLM time to value by simplifying deployment, providing flexibility to quickly scale deployment, and reducing cost of ownership. What does that mean? The key is that instead of taking months to deploy, it's by using the cloud infrastructure, you can quickly deploy and easy to deploy on Teamcenter on cloud platform like AWS. Flexibility, scale. You can scale your deployment up and down. You can add more servers, reduce your servers based on your business need. And as we looked at it, the cost will significantly lower total cost of ownership. Teamcenter on the cloud, speed, time to value. There are 3 things. 1, simplified deployment, I talked about earlier. Instant scalability, lower cost of ownership. We'll go in a little bit more detail what this means. Let's look at simplified deployment. Simplified deployment, you can quickly and easily deploy Teamcenter on the cloud. How? Siemens has invested a lot of time and money in developing cloud formation scripts that you can follow a step-by-step process to deploy a Teamcenter on the cloud on Amazon, AWS. Here is, if you see here is, you can select the server size, disk type, network type, spatial options of the hardware stack. Then you can deploy Teamcenter. Here is the 4-tier client on your premise. And then you have the front end through which you get into the environment, and you have all-in-one Teamcenter, which is well configured using this cloud formation scripts. Siemens has currently certified on Amazon Cloud and working with IBM and Microsoft on certification pretty soon. It's working on IBM Cloud and Microsoft Azure platforms. And Siemens also has a cloud deployment service providers on Teamcenter like PROLIM, and there are other partners also available to help you to deploy Teamcenter on the cloud. Instant scalability. You can dynamically size and scale your deployment as project needs. For example, let me share with some of my experiences. When we're deploying a Teamcenter on the cloud in 13 countries and in a large OEM and the 500 suppliers, we had to build lots of environments. We had to build development 1 environment, development 2 environment, the unit testing QA environment, integration test environment, user acceptance testing environment, performance scalability environment, user verification environment, pre-prod environment, and then deployment environment. Imagine how many environments. Some environments live for a very short while, 2 months, 3 months in the deployment cycle. You can't afford to procure that complex hardware and build it and keep it ready. It's very cost prohibitive, and what you do with that hardware once the program is over. The Teamcenter on the cloud, you can log into, open an account with Amazon. You can create different environments. You can scale your environment from small hardware to small server to larger hardware. Scale it up. Your UAT testing is done. You can log into the Amazon control panel and turn it off. Your billing starts right there. You can package the entire environment and store it, or you can destroy it. So that is the beauty of this Teamcenter on the cloud. You can leverage your infrastructure, dynamically size and scale your deployment. We'll walk through in the part of the AVI how you can scale this environment. And you can instantly deploy additional instances and data caches or cache over FSC cache across the globe. That way you can have a speed of execution, speed of access of data. So the third item we talked about, lower cost of ownership. You can reduce the total cost of ownership by going infrastructure as a service. As we talked about earlier, can you please put a mute, please? There are two, as we talked earlier, the service models of cloud infrastructure, traditional IT where one from...
There's one,
Can you please mute your phone?
that is popping up. It happens to be kind of where the...
Excuse me, can you put a mute?
So it's probably, no question, probably, a little bit weight on it, but with the
Okay, all right, thanks. Thank you very much. All right, sorry for the inconvenience. Let's continue. Reduce the total cost of ownership, infrastructure as a service. As we talked earlier, the infrastructure as a service in a traditional IT, within your premise, you own from hardware to operating systems to middleware to application and data. As an infrastructure as a service, you have pretty much outsourced the entire hardware, the entire CapEx, out to a cloud provider, cloud infrastructure provider. And you are managing operating system and above, and hence it will reduce your IT burden and maintenance cost of the hardware. You may wonder, what is Teamcenter deployment and support means in a cloud infrastructure? If you look at on the left-hand side, in a traditional IT infrastructure, a four-tier Teamcenter deployment, all the four layers: database layer 1, your layer number 2, business logic, 3, the web server, and your 4, the four-tier clients. All are within on your premise. Customer might have outsourced to their IT partner or managing a combination of IT or their service provider. What does that mean after the cloud? All the 3 layers, from database to business logic to your web tier, they're all within your cloud service provider. In this case, for example, Amazon Cloud. And you are managing only the fourth tier, which is the clients. Your clients are connecting through what we call as the front door of Amazon Cloud through the proxy to your Teamcenter environment. It's a highly secured. It's very hard to break it. What is Amazon Cloud global infrastructure and their footprint? If you see that Amazon is pretty much there in every geographic location. There are AWS regions and there are also AWS edge locations. You can connect, you can deploy in every part of the world. Now, the question is, why does Siemens care? How do we leverage on-premise versus off-premise? The Siemens care does not because the customers care. Everybody wants speed of execution, reduce cost. And here are the key benefits. If you look at this, number one, pay for the infrastructure as you need. Earlier I was talking about if you want to build an UAT environment, you have to start with hardware, looking at the hardware, getting the code. So should I go for Sunblade V880 or different server or a Windows server? You start with all that, getting 3 codes and selecting the vendor, getting the hardware into your infrastructure and provisioning. It will take months. Here, you pay as the infrastructure. You don't need to put all that capex upfront, and you can reduce your lower cost of IT since its cloud infrastructure is evolving, and since then there's a 31 times price reductions. Huge. Today it's very, very cheap and affordable. Number 3, you don't need to guess your capacity. You can start with one location with a few users as you start your deployment. As you grow, you can turn on, you can add on, you can see your chart on your mobile device or whatnot, see the growth, and then you can add your capacity, sitting in the comfort of your room. 4, increase innovation. Experiment fast with low cost of low risk. If you want to experiment, evaluate Teamcenter on cloud, you can turn on, you can log in, open an account on Amazon Cloud, get the license, install, try it out, and see the value instantly, within months, within few days, weeks, as opposed to months before. Number 5, get rid of undifferentiated heavy lifting. The earlier example, if you build an UAT lab, you get to procure the hardware. 2 months UAT is over. What do you do with that hardware? There's no more requirement. Number 6, go global in minutes. It's very easy. The Amazon Cloud exists in 9 regions, 25 availability zones, and you can expand in minutes in other parts of the world. Now, having said that, Teamcenter on the cloud is the cloud infrastructure, business case, and Teamcenter on the cloud. Here is an example, real example of an AVI we would like to present at this point of time. Here is an example of a global wind power, and we'll play it for you.
How does a company like Global Wind Power deploy the necessary infrastructure to support a centralized PLM environment and make it easy, cost-effective, and flexible? Mark Cohen, CIO of Global Wind Power, like most CIOs, is having to do more or less, while at the same time fostering a culture that will drive innovation. Mark chose Teamcenter PLM with a cloud deployment option. By deploying Teamcenter on the cloud and converting to a zero capital model for infrastructure, he will enable the business to produce true product line profitability. At the same time, this will provide the ability to centrally manage a global footprint cost effectively. This allows the IT team to effectively and flexibly service the lines of business while providing a true assessment of their costs. The IT support staff for Global Wind Power is then able to effectively manage the IT infrastructure from anywhere in the world. Through leveraging Watch and setting form alerts on his PLM environment, Ken is notified that he needs to increase the capacity and size of his Teamcenter server. He is able to perform functions by re-putting down the environment and then bringing it back up, all within minutes. Carrie, another member of the Global Wind Power IT staff, is responsible for maintaining the PLM environment. She leverages practices simply and quickly up the PLM environment prior to making any changes. This is done by doing an AWS shot environment and data. Susan Ball, another member of the IT team, is able to remotely manage the PLM environment. From her mobile device, Susan can access, monitor, and manage the infrastructure remotely. When Susan receives an email notification that the system is down, she was able to access, reboot the environment, and bring the system back up to operational state from anywhere in the world. By deploying Teamcenter on the cloud, the IT support staff for Global Wind Power is able to effectively manage the IT infrastructure from anywhere in the globe efficiently and cost-effectively.